Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek, the podcast that is ever altering its structure and the conversations on our geekdom. We discuss everything from television and film to gaming, streaming, technology, and simply put, things we geek out to. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and as always, thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to interact with the show, you can do so by visiting Twitter and Facebook and using the @AlteredGeek, or you can just simply use my Twitter handle @SCP21 and get a hold of me there. So without further ado, a little bit of housekeeping to kind of keep things going, I'm going to move the question to a monthly question. Since the weekly is kind of, depending on how quickly people get involved with this, not garnering the attention, so we're going to move it to a monthly format for the question. Although if you do have questions, feel free to send them in because it's a great conversation piece for topics. So be sure to do that. So without further ado, I'm going to go right to part 2 of our conversation on the featured presentation with DJ Valentine.
And now our feature presentation.
The other thing that I thought would be kind of interesting is the fact that we get a bunch of canceled shows on Netflix, which kind of seemed like it would never happen.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's funny because it's just a matter of time before this Disney Play, Disney Flix, whatever it's called, comes out. Is it a bad thing that these shows are getting canceled? Is it a good thing? Because I'm assuming they're just going to pick them up, but I know they have this big old thing between the Marvel church and state TV and movie situation between Kevin Feige and Ike Perlmutter and Jeff Loeb. They're not best of friends, as you were. That's why they're not getting a lot of connections anymore. But it seems like if Disney Play is coming out, they're gonna just pick them up, right? Or we don't even know if Iron Fist and Luke Cage did well. We don't know. Critically, we know, but ratings-wise, downloads-wise, we have no idea because Netflix doesn't release that stuff. We have no idea if Luke Cage Season 2 bombed, Iron Fist Season 2 bombed. We have no idea. So canceling it might have been because it didn't do shit for them, or canceling it could have been because Netflix is spiteful. We have no idea why this is happening.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that's really weird about Netflix is they don't have to account to anybody.
Yeah, they're their own master.
They're like, we have our own ratings, and it doesn't matter what you have to say.
But you gotta. I love when people are like you, but you have to tell us. Netflix is like, no, we don't.
They're like, it's our ratings. We don't share them with everyone.
Share them with you. Kick rocks. And it's bad because I'm in the middle or a little bit past the middle of Daredevil Season 3, and it's excellent. And Punisher Season 1, I thought was so good. And as I watched Punisher Season 1, when it ended, I was like, and this is me, I'm greedy at all times. If it's good, I want more. But Punisher Season 1 ended in such a good way, I was like, you don't need to make any more. It was such a perfect ending. You didn't need any more, but now they're making a Season 2. I'm kind of interested, but I'm scared now because I'm like, oh, I don't want it to be bad. I don't want them to mess this up. I think they got the perfect casting. I think Netflix, other than Finn Jones for Iron Fist, has cast these shows so well. Like Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is probably the most unsung comic book casting of all time. I think if you're watching Season 3, he is frightening. Like, I don't get any hero in any closest I can think of is maybe Heath Ledger's Joker. But Heath Ledger's Joker was entertaining, like, because he's the Joker, he's fun. But there was always that switch where, yo, look at me. That stuff where you're like, oh my God, that's, But there is no point in Daredevil Season 1, Daredevil Season 2, when Kingpin makes a little bit of a cameo, and this season where Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin doesn't scare the shit out of you. There is no tongue-in-cheek with him. You don't know when he's going to just erupt and kill you or just do the little smirk and I'm gonna kill you in a different way. He's chilling. So yeah, the show is so good. Jessica Jones season 2, yeah, that was started off. I don't know if you saw that. It was started off really good and then it just bombed at the end. I did not like that season, but those are the 3 that I think there's. If they cancel Jessica Jones next, there will be an uproar. That's why I don't think they're going to cancel the shows. There will be an uproar about that.
Yeah, it's kind of going to be interesting to see what they do, just because they recently canceled Iron Fist. They canceled Luke Cage. They canceled Fuller House.
I think they said they're not going to make any more Defenders, and this is probably why, because they're canceling all these other shows.
They canceled Orange is the New Black.
They canceled Orange. I didn't know that. They canceled Orange is the New Black?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I didn't watch it, but I'm kind of surprised because I know it had a...
I stopped season 2, I think is the last season I saw. But I know you're right. It had like a huge following.
It's canceled after its current 7th season. It's its final season, so...
Oh, and then the House of Cards is ending. Now this is their final season for reasons which we are aware.
but we get more crap shows like The Real World and other shows coming back. Lethal Weapon's going away.
Thank God.
What do you think about that show? Like, just to be honest,
I talked to Mike Blanchard about this. They don't. I don't think they understand what Martin Riggs is, especially on the TV show. So the thing about Lethal Weapon, the movie, is that Riggs is the lethal weapon. That's the whole purpose of the title. He's not like a fumbler. He's not clumsy. He can't stop not killing people. He keeps killing people. He's a danger to everyone around him. But they portrayed it on Fox as if he was just like, oh, I just crashed a car, like the Demolition Man. There's a difference between John Spartan and Martin Riggs. And the Fox version of Martin Riggs was John Spartan. Martin Riggs is essentially a psychopath who's trying not to be a psychopath anymore. That's why I got out of the first Lethal Weapon. He's great. He's jumping off buildings. Shoot me. Murtaugh puts the gun under his chin and Riggs pulls the trigger, and Murtaugh has to stop the hammer from going off because he's a psychopath. And the arc from that to the 4th one is that he learns to reconnect in society. That was the whole purpose. But the what's his name? Clayne Crawford?
Yeah.
He was not. He didn't get Riggs to me. He didn't have the psycho part that Mel Gibson.
He had a little bit of it. It's just that he played it more in the fashion of like a Charlie Sheen or like a William Shatner type of like.
He was playing Lethal Weapon 4 Martin Riggs. I want Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2 Martin Riggs, where he is murderous. Remember in Lethal Weapon 1, where he's going through the nightclub and he's just snapping people's necks. Who's fucking next? Like that's Riggs. That's the Riggs I want, where he's chasing after cars in Lethal Weapon 2 and shooting a guy and saying the cops at their dead's name as he fires bullets in their. That's Martin Riggs. He's not a bumbler. When has Martin Riggs been a bumbler except for in the 4th movie? And even in the 4th movie, when he's fighting Jet Li, that was lethal Martin Riggs. That's where I think they messed it up. I think if they would have put that on FX and they made it like a gritty cop show, and I don't think Clayne Crawford was the better version of that. Yeah, I don't. I think they would have had a better show.
I like Damon Wayans in it too, though. He was pretty good. I mean, I kind of see like where neither one of them are really, I don't know, fit for it.
Yeah,
they're definitely like a TV watered down version of it.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. It just seemed like a bad idea. It's almost like this Magnum PI show that's out right now. It's just kind of like. I guess the guy who's playing Magnum PI is trying to capture the charm of Tom Selleck, but it's hard to capture the Tom.
Well,
Tom
you can't
Selleck
capture stuff from the '80s. Like it's really difficult.
Really, like if they were to do an A-Team TV show, they tried to do the movie, and it was kind of like, certain things work for their era. I think Magnum PI could work now. You got to really cast well, and I've seen the pilot episode of that show. And the only person I think they cast well was Rick. The guy who plays Rick is pretty funny, and I remember Rick being pretty funny. The guy who plays TC is just like, cast a black guy. He's not really delivering anything other than I fly a helicopter. That's all he's done. That's all he does in the pilot. I fly a helicopter. But the guy who plays is it Jay Hernandez who plays Thomas Magnum. He's just like, you gotta be charming, man. You gotta get that charm. You gotta like Timothy Oliphant comes to mind when I'm thinking of like a charming guy you can get for TV, but not Jay Hernandez. Michael Pena would have probably been more charming than Jay Hernandez. Jay Hernandez is very just staticky. He's not like, oh, look at that guy. He's funny. Because that's what Thomas Magnum was. He was a charming guy who would win over the ladies, and he'd get himself in a situation. He was essentially Indiana Jones, because he was going to be Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I don't really get that same. I think I'm kind of on your boat with not really getting that vibe for the actor for that show.
Yeah, I think I like what they kind of did with Higgins, but it's kind of like, are they just did they cast a woman as Higgins merely because they wanted to have romantic tension between Thomas and Higgins? Because if that's the case, then no. If she's just there because she's, it's a cool take, I'm for it. But it seems like in that episode they were doing it because they wanted them to have some sexual chemistry. I'm like, no. No. That's not what this shows. That's not what the relationship between Higgins and Thomas Magnum has ever been or ever should be. It should have been like they were reluctant friends. They started off as enemies and they become friends, not lovers. I don't agree with that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm some of the adaptations of older properties. I have a hard time with watching them. Like I didn't really have a problem with Lethal Weapon for the most part. Although when they killed Riggs off, I was a little peeved on that, and then they got American Pie to join up.
Who is he playing on that show? Is he just a different character? Is he related to Riggs? Or is
he's not even related. They took the. Have you watched all of Lethal Weapon?
I stopped after season 1. I saw all of season 1.
Okay, so you don't mind if I spoil it?
No, I don't care.
Okay, so
it's over anyway.
So, anyways, yeah, it's picked up for two more episodes for Damon Wayans, but they're not getting another season for obvious reasons. Riggs' father gets capped by, I think, Riggs, and Riggs has like a long lost like half brother.
Okay.
And just walks up at the end of the season finale and just shoots him in the chest, kills him. I was like, because the first episode back, they had Murtaugh like mourning him for like 6 months or something, and then because he died in the hospital, and I was like, really, the dude jumps off like a skyscraper, he does all this other crap, and he gets blown away by a gunshot to the chest.
And this is, I mean, they thought the best way to handle the Clayne Crawford, Damon Wayans beef is to kill off the title character of the show.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, he was...
Couldn't just recast them? Just recast them.
Well, the funny thing was, they were going to give him his send-off, like the character at the end of the episode. Right. They had 2 routes they could have gone. Like, I didn't see that coming, and any of the, they could have done it in a way that he was supposed to go off with his new girlfriend who had a son, and he was saying his goodbye.
Jordana Brewster? The Jordana Brewster was his girlfriend? That's what I thought they were.
No, it wasn't her. She was the psychiatrist.
Right.
But she was mourning him too in that first episode back. I forget who they had playing the actress, but anyways, they were gonna have him have his send off and go back to Texas, and then he gets blown away. I was like, you couldn't have just let him go home, like.
We're Fox. We need a twist.
Yeah, and so the first episode back, then they bring in this Wesley Cole, who's like an ex like CIA, FBI, who something bad happened to, and he had a traumatic thing, and so he ended up going to the police force and working with Murtaugh. So like, it was, I don't know, it's a totally different vibe.
Because it's not the same. It has nothing to do with the movie anymore. You've killed off. It's like. It's like having a movie called Mad Max Fury Road, and you kill off Mad Max. It's like, well, what do we watch? It's a completely different show now. There's
Well,
no Lethal Weapon.
And then Damon Wayans is like, I want to leave the show because I'm diabetic. I don't want to deal with any of this anymore. Because like I guess the way the set was set up, like he would work for long hours and not get any break to like eat or just take care of his diabetic issue.
Right.
So he's like, I'm done. I'm going back to stand up and spend time with my family. And so they're like, oh, the show's done.
Isn't he? But he's showing up on a different show as his son's show. His son has a show and he's supposed to be playing his father or something like that. So he might have just been saying that shit because he just wanted to fuck out of his contract. He's like, look, I'm tired. I want to go on stand up. Nah, I just want to get off of this. I just want to get out of my contract.
Probably because he just doesn't want to do anything that's grueling and like long hours.
Right.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I'm just going to watch it until it rides its way out. And then I'll be like, okay, it's done.
Has there ever been like a good adaptation of an 80s anything? I'm trying to think. They had no. I if there's that one out there, let me know because I'm trying to think of a good adaptation of an 80s property. There hasn't been like a Simon and Simon or a anything like that. Not a Magnum, not a A-Team, not a anything like that.
Unless it's like revivals of old shows from the 80s to the 90s that we're on.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
And that's really all you've got going on. But it's with this original cast. I mean, you don't have really a complete reboot from something that's from the 80s that's been halfway decent.
We're going to get a gritty Webster, aren't we? We're going to get a gritty... a gritty Different Strokes is going to come.
We're gonna get a...
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
Gritty Doogie Howser.
He's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
He's underage.
And he's under your... Never... Beep.
You can't give him a scalpel. He's only 17.
But he likes blood.
Oh, wow. Now I'm into that. You
He's
make
a
Doogie Howser a murderer? In. Automatic in.
Hannibal Lecter.
And, oh, Doogie Howser. Welcome. Welcome to my surgical room.
He almost sounded like Stewie from Family Guy. Welcome to my surgery room. I almost put like a Scotty twist on it.
Oh wow, dude! Now take old '90s shows and give interesting spins to them. Now I'm in. I'm into a serial killer, a Dexter Doogie Howser. I'm into that.
We did something like that on an earlier episode of Altered Geek. Funny enough, I had Birdman Dodd on, and we were talking like creating your own shows, basically. Mm-hmm. And I have this card game, and it's basically you pitch your own fake movie.
Right.
And we were going back and forth, and we pitched a basically you take John McClane and oh man, I can't remember his name right now. Eddie Murphy's character from Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, Axel Foley.
Axel Foley, and like we were gonna put him in like an 8-bit world.
What was the name of it?
8-bit Heroes, and they were gonna have to basically fight their way back to reality.
So this is kind of like Mario Brothers, but instead of Mario and Luigi Mario, you have Axel Foley and John McClane. Basically.
It was the most like ridiculous thing in the world, but it was so funny because we were like, okay, how do we do this?
Hello, Mr. Foley. Hello, Mr. McClane. Welcome to my 8-bit world, where I'll be earning 30% on the beach somewhere.
Where Disney owns everything you see.
Everything you see here, Mr. McClane, is owned by Disney. I'm owned by Disney. You're owned by Disney. The FBI is owned by Disney.
That's funny. You could do that so like spot on. It's hilarious.
It's funny because I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan because people are like, do Snape. I'm like, I don't know any lines from Snape. I know Harry Potter. That's all I really know. That's all I really know.
Potter.
Mr. Potter is it. I rather do him in Love Actually than fucking Snape. Or Prince of Thieves. At least I didn't use a spoon. I'd rather do that than frickin'. I'm a Slytherin. I don't know anything about Harry Potter. Zero. I know Harry Potter always loses. That's all I remember from Harry Potter.
We did it in that same episode when we came up with the 8-bit heroes. There was another one where it was like something with it was like basically like a puppet world.
Okay.
And it was called, I don't remember anything about it, but it was called Puppet Work. Like, I don't know, it might have been like a puppet pimp or something like that. It was just like the most ridiculous thing in the world. And then Future Shock 1942, where Terminators go back to the year 1942 just to like raise hell, pretty much.
That's what sucks about Happy Time Murders kind of bombing, because remember that movie that came out this year?
Yeah.
Happy Time Murders?
Yeah.
That nobody's like 5 people saw. Is that I thought that was an interesting concept, putting like Muppet characters in like R-rated movie. That's why we got the Kermit Die Hard thing, is because I thought that was really funny. I was like, man, imagine like Muppets Alien or Muppets Predator. That'd have been awesome. But you'll never get that now because Happy Time Murders fucked it up for everybody.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, that's been awesome. You get Gonzo as a freaking as Blaine. I don't have time to die. Bleed. I don't have time to bleed. It'll be great. But you can't do it. Thank you, Melissa McCarthy, for ruining the potential of Muppets and R-rated features. Thanks very much.
Yeah. I had no intention. Like, that movie just looked dumb.
I mean, I've seen like 10 minutes of it, and I was just like, "Ooh, this could have been, this could have been handled a little bit better."
Torture.
Yeah, it's like a 5-minute ejaculation joke, which they have in the trailer, and it's just like, yeah, this is rough.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just a lot of that goofy crap. That's what we were screwed around with, and I pretty much would just give him the scenario and just let him run with it, and then see where it would go.
God, now I want to see Axel. Can you imagine John McClane and Axel Foley having a conversation? That'd have been. I don't think John McClane would have time for Axel Foley.
I have a feeling like Axel Foley would just kind of keep showing up, like, "Hey, what's going on?"
And John would be like, "Look."
Be like, "I've got to dive off a falling apart bridge.
Look, I don't
grab
have
a
any
helicopter
shoes on right now. Okay, can you give me a break with your Detroit Lions jacket? I got to jump off a building. Okay, they've got my wife. They got Holly."
And Axel would just be saying, "I gotta go to Wally World.
I gotta go Wally. Oh God, you bring up Beverly Hills Cop 3? Holy shit!" You bring up the black sheep of fucking Beverly Hills.
I like the first one where they do the thing with the takeout.
Gritty. Yeah. The first one's gritty. The second one is Tony Scott. You got the Top Gun director doing the second one. I like the second one probably the best.
See, that's what's funny is that's one I remember the least.
Oh, Brigitte Nielsen's in there.
I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I can't remember that
Killers, one. Yeah, man, and the guy from RoboCop I think is in there. I forget his freaking name. I'd have to look it up. But yeah. The second one I think is Chris Rock makes a cameo. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think the first one is way more gritty, where it's just like it's
like Die Hard.
It's very Die Hard. And I think that was written for Sylvester Stallone, if I remember correctly, playing Axel Foley, but they got Eddie Murphy instead, which I think, I can only imagine what the hell fucking Beverly Hills Cop would have been with Sylvester Stallone. I guess it would have been Cobra. I guess that's what it would have been. You're the disease. I'm the cure. That'd have been Beverly Hills Cop.
That would be actually hilarious. But I'm glad it turned out the way it did, so you had the nice comedic timing of everything, and him throwing the food in the exhaust pipe, and,
it's not a food, it's a banana. You have to say the banana in the tailpipe. You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
I had somebody do that to me once, except they shoved a cucumber in the tailpipe of my truck.
Oh, wow.
The only difference was that it shot out. it exploded after it hit out. It was
cucumber
great.
in the tailpipe isn't have the same comedic ring to it. Cucumber in the tailpipe, no, banana. That's perfect. That's the perfect. Ronnie Cox, he's the police chief in or he's Lieutenant Bogami. That was his name. Bogomil. I don't know. I just remember Ronnie Cox from RoboCop. That's all I remember.
But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy those films. I enjoy a lot of the stuff from the 80s. They hold a special place.
No, I mean, Die Hard is the greatest action movie of all time. So
I agree with you.
I'm never going to say a bad word about Die Hard. It is essentially my catnip. If it's on television, no matter what part, I have to watch it. It's almost like Naked Gun. It's like I must kill the queen. I must finish watching this Die Hard movie. I cannot turn this off.
It's like Police Academy for me.
Oh, see, we did a bunch of commentaries for Police Academy on Simplistic Reviews podcast, and boy, oh boy, we regretted that decision after part 1.
Well, we actually went through all the Police Academy movies on one of our podcasts, and
we stopped at Citizens on Patrol. We couldn't do Miami, Mission Miami, or what the hell that was called. We couldn't do it From Russia with Love, whatever the other one was called. We stopped at Citizens on Patrol.
Citizens on Patrol wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it was better than we did. One of them was bad. I think it was 3 that was really bad. Not bad as in awful, bad as in boring, because it was essentially all of the same jokes done worse from part 1 and 2. So it's kind of I think one might be the best one. I think 1 is the best.
1 was the best, but I enjoyed 4 because it got the lieutenant back or Captain Harris back for number 4.
Oh shit! Yeah, that guy.
Mauser was just terrible. He looked like a knockoff William Shatner.
He does look like a knockoff William Shatner. He was in an Andy Sedaris film, and we were doing a commentary on an Andy Sedaris film. I cannot remember which one it was. It might have been Malibu Express, and he showed up, and we were like looking at him, but because he looked a little, I think he had a mustache, and we were like looking at him like, I know this guy. Where do I know this guy from? That's freaking Mauser from Police Academy. So yeah, other than Police Academy and that Andy Sedaris film, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else. Has he done anything else other than that?
I don't know. Like, I know Harris is still in stuff, but
Harris was on The Closer for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
With Kira Sedgwick. I remember that.
I know the 5th and 6th and 7th movie were just terrible to me, but that's because it was missing part of its principal cast.
Yeah, you get rid of Mahoney, I'm out.
Yeah, that's when I was like, all right.
I think that's why we stopped at Citizens on Patrol, because Mahoney was the last one Mahoney I think was in with Sharon Stone. And we're like, yeah, that's enough. That's good enough. We're good.
And there's only like 6 cast members that are still alive.
Oh yeah, Tackleberry died. Did Bubba?
He's dead.
Oh man, who else is dead? Well, I know the Lassard is dead. I'm assuming.
Yeah. What is it?
He was on Punky Brewster. He was the foster dad on Punky Brewster.
I mean, you have the lady that was from Sex and the City still, alive, obviously.
Yeah,
Kim Cattrall.
She was who should have been Savick in Undiscovered Country. Yes, we're bringing it full circle.
Yeah, G.W. Bailey, Harris. Yeah, he's still alive. Kim Cattrall, Steve Guttenberg. David Graff, Tackleberry did die. Sergeant Callahan, Leslie Easterbrook, still alive. Michael Winslow still alive.
Thank God. What about the Asian guy that what's your name was in love with? What the hell was his name? I think he might have been in Citizens on Patrol actually, or was it part 3? Guy, the police academies bleed together. I'm trying to remember exactly. There was an Asian guy, and he was dating the fuck. It's gonna bother me now. It's gonna bother me.
Yeah.
I think he dated Callahan. I can't remember his name though.
That could be. Yeah, I can't remember.
Was it Nagata? Is he dead?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I know Marion, the one that did the low, the real low voice, and then when she'd get hands on the floor, dirtbag,
don't move, dirtbags. Yeah.
Yeah, that she's still alive. Because a lot of them have done like really bad B movies.
Oh no. Well, I know Gutenberg, wasn't he in? What was the name of that sci-fi movie? Volcanolantula. It was like tarantulas with volcanoes in them.
Yeah, it was Lavalantula.
Lavalantula. That's.
And then he was back in To Lava, To Lantula.
He was. Oh man, I thought I imagined that.
No,
I thought it was a dream.
I remember seeing it. Well, what's funny is Michael Winslow is his like secondary cast member in that.
Is he?
Yeah, he's back in that movie.
Oh, I'm looking at it. The whole cast of Police Academy is in there. Hooks is in there. The one that played Callahan is in there. Leslie Eastbrook.
Yep.
Marion Ramsey's in there. Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, they're all doing like B sci-fi movies. I'm like, I want to watch them just to throw them a bone, but like I'm like I don't want to support terrible film either.
I mean, it looks like it's ripe for a commentary, but
I feel like he'd be torturing.
Yeah, it might be bad. See, the thing, if we do, this is why we love Andy Sedaris. We do a lot of Andy Sedaris commentaries because those movies are awful, but they're so entertaining. They are entertainingly awful, where it's like I don't believe they've used a rubber dummy in this 7-frame shot as a person to fall off a building. I don't believe they did it, but they did. And there you have it. You'll get through them because you're laughing. But some of these movies are just boring bad. When they're boring bad, it's like Beware Children at Play. We did a commentary on, and we did it primarily because we had seen the end of the movie where just YouTube the ending of Beware Children at Play. It's as awful as it sounds. Essentially, it's a bunch of children that are murderers, and the town gets revenge and kills them. And we've only seen the one shot at the one ending of the movie where it's just the most gruesome trauma-like murdering of a group of children who are murderers, right? So we're like, okay, maybe the movie is just crazy and like balls out, just like this ending. And it's not. It's boring as shit. Nothing happens. It's shot horribly. You can barely hear the audio. It's only the end. So if you want to watch Beware Children at Play, save yourself 2 hours of your life and watch the last, 3 minutes. And that's all you need to watch.
I do that with a lot of B movies.
Oh man,
like,
some B movies are great, man, and then some of them are just so bad.
Yeah, well, when they're Sci-Fi Channel bad, they're really bad. But just like Sharknado 4, when you get Tara Reid, David Hasselhoff, Gary Busey, Steve Guttenberg, David Faustino.
You've edited things, so you know when David Hasselhoff was on there. There was a shot where they're
Gilbert
apparently. Well, no, it's David Hasselhoff, but it's very clear that he's not in the same shot as everybody else. So all of his shots are close up, pointing like low angle shots at the sky, so they can match it to where they're walking. Because he's not. They filmed their stuff first, and I think David Hasselhoff's got filmed in later. If you watch it again, I think that was the one where he had the lightsaber chainsaw in space. I can't remember. These Sharknado movies are talking about bleeding together. But yeah, it's really poorly done. But some of them are entertaining. I think the second one was pretty fun. I think that's the one with Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz was in one of those, and it was funny. But I think as they've gotten along, they're aware of the fact that they're dumb, and the jokes are now not as. The jokes are good when they're B-movie jokes are good when they're taking it seriously. When they don't realize they're bad. Sharknado realizes they're bad, and it's like forced jokes where it's like, all right, I guess Vivica Fox is gonna drop kick a shark, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like I got pantsed by my own movie.
Isn't that one where Tara Reid has like a robotic hand now, and she's like, it's like half cyborg at some point. Well,
when you see Hasselhoff and half his family in the same movie, you know it's bad.
Yeah. Ian Ziering, the most successful member of the Beverly Hills 90210 cast now? Can you say that now? Because where's Brian Austin Green? I don't know. Where's Dylan McKay? I think he might be in it. You know what? He's in the new Quentin Tarantino movie that's not out yet, so he might supersede them soon. Shannon Doherty, she's recovering thankfully from cancer, but she hasn't acted in years. Who else? I think that might be it. There's nobody else on that show that's done well.
That seems to be the way that things go anymore.
If you're on a '90s television show, you don't. Well, I mean, you got Jennifer. I mean, Friends is doing all right. Well, no, let me take it back.
Of the cast.
So Jennifer Aniston's doing okay.
She's the only one doing okay.
Courtney Cox, she's kind of second place, and then the rest of them, eh.
That's because the other ones have aged very badly.
Yeah, what's his name? Chandler, who was my favorite character on Friends. He's not doing nothing. He's not doing anything. And then Joey Tribbiani. He was on that show on Showtime that was pretty good though. And he was hosting Top Gear. But I guess that's it.
I think he quit from that or got fired.
Oh, Top Gear?
I think so.
Oh man.
I think they let him go.
That's a good gig, bro.
He was too American.
We need a British man driving these cars.
Even though half our superheroes are British, so.
Yes, superheroes, shit, movie stars.
Yeah. Batman's just about British all the time.
Oh God, yeah. Well, they're about to recast him. I heard it's going to be Jack O'Connell, and he's not American. I don't think. I think he's British.
He's British. I already looked him up when I heard the news. I was like,
Is he British? That means he might be good.
Spider-Man's British.
And he's the best Spider-Man we've ever fucking had, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, he's better than Abercrombie and Fitch Garfield.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan
younger than Tobey Maguire, who was 43 years old when he's making the first Spider-Man. So,
but you got to give it props because even though it was really bad, it was the first time Spider-Man hit the screen and actually was halfway decent. Other than when you looked at his CGI when he was flying between buildings.
Yeah. You're talking about Garfield?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about Tobey Maguire.
Oh yeah, no, I like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. He was a great Peter Parker. He just wasn't a good Spider-Man. He didn't tell any jokes. He was just kind of like, golly gee.
And Andrew Garfield was a better Spider-Man than he was Peter Parker.
Yeah, well, I mean, he looked like I'm like, this guy's supposed to be a nerd. He has like gel in his hair, man.
He wasn't a nerd.
He's
a poser.
He's a poser, man. He's hipster Parker. I don't like that one. The top.
Yeah, the current one is the where it's at.
He's right. He's hit, and I think he understands that. Okay, I'm supposed to be kind of a dork. That's where I need to lean into.
And it works.
See how it works when I'm a dork. Yeah, Tobey Maguire understood that. When I'm a dork, it works. But when Tom Holland puts on the suit, he also gets with the quippiness, which I think it might be this a tribute to the writers. I don't know, because Sam Raimi is a funny guy, but I guess he didn't really have a lot of script control. I think David Cope wrote the first Spider-Man. I can't remember who wrote the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, but there's not a lot of quips in that first Spider-Man. I think I challenged somebody. I was like, name me 10 jokes Spider-Man says in the first two movies. Name me 10 in the spider suit. That is a joke that Spider-Man says. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, I know. I can't even. I can remember maybe like barely one or two that happened. I couldn't quote it, but I remember that there were a few. The best lines in those movies were J.K. Simmons.
Oh, J.K. What are they gonna do with J.K.? What are they gonna do with J. Jonah Jameson in this Tom Holland one? I'm getting rumors that it's J.B. Smooth's gonna play him, but
I think they should give J.K. his job back.
Yeah, he's not going to be Commissioner Gordon anymore because that franchise is dead. Get your ass back over here, J.K.
Yeah, we need a good J. Jonah Jameson.
I always said that if they can't get J. Jonah Jameson, get John C. McGinley from Scrubs. People remember him as a doctor. He was he was Zach Braff's boss in Scrubs.
Oh, okay.
He was also on Office Space because he was quick witted, and I always remember the scene in Point Break where he was the police chief in Point Break. You produce squat. I was like, he could do a good J. Jonah Jameson, but it probably won't happen because I don't think I think the perfect J. Jonah. I don't think anybody wants to come near that role for the simple fact that J.K. Simmons essentially just owns it. Like you're going to be compared to him immediately. It's rough. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it, but you need it. You need a J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Verse. I don't know if we're going to get it in Far From Home. They might hint at it. I know they have him in the video game. He's got to be very blusterous, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the character once they go that route. When they have that next movie come out.
Yeah, the Mysterio movie, which I'm not a big fan of that, but
Yeah, they're at least touching on a new villain instead of let's do Green Goblin for the fourth time.
Why are you wasting Jake Gyllenhaal? Jake Gyllenhaal may be one of the greatest actors working
put
today.
His face away.
Make a place, get somebody inconsequential as Mysterio. Jake Gyllenhaal, why are you wasting Jake Gyllenhaal? That's like I'm gonna cast Kate Blanchett as Hera. Oh wait. They did do that. Never mind. I take it back.
Oh man. So, is there anything that you'd like to promote before we close it out?
Promoting. Oh, we're doing a Halloween episode coming up in the next. I think we're recording it on the 24th. So I think it's going to drop on the 31st or the 30th. Hopefully, God, fingers crossed. We have a Richard Grieco commentary, which I'm not sure when that's going to come out. It's probably going to come out right after the main show. It's what's the name of the movie we did? I can't even remember. It was so bad. It was if Looks Could Kill, I think is the name of it. And I think that's it. Oh, and the live show is going to be every 3 weeks. We do the live show, which is no script whatsoever. We just shoot off the hip. That's the only show that we do that has no script. We have a soundboard. That's about the only thing scripted.
Yeah, I don't do a live show very often, but when I do it, I'm like, I gotta have something to talk about. I'm like, what do you got? Like,
we were talking about I Come in Peace and Showdown Little Tokyo on our last live show. So we reached the gamut of everything when it comes to the live show stuff.
I try to cover various things. It just sometimes, luckily, I get a lot of feedback for the live shows, and I'm able to cover it. And depending on who the co-host is for that, it depends on the types of answers or the types of questions I mess around with. So yeah, it's something I'm still experimenting with. I know that it garners more attention than, say, download.
Right. Yeah, I mean, live shows are fun. Just because it's the unpredictable. You never know where a conversation will go, kind of situation.
And that's where the fun is. Mm-hmm. In craziness, unlike traditional radio, where
there's rules and there's gateways and there's. I like control. I like having control. So I can mitigate the disasters as much as possible. But sometimes there's brilliance in insanity and chaos. It's just hard to harness it. I got deep right there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Brave new world. It has such potters in it.
Mr. Potter. Mr. Potter.
Oh, yes, I simply have a penchant for intelligent conversation.
Oh, that's another thing. How do you feel about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them Part 2?
I actually know nothing about them.
I haven't watched the only people on the planet don't know shit about Harry Potter.
No, I've watched the original ones, and I actually read the first 6 books. When they came out, but the Fantastic Beasts, I know nothing aside from the fact that they've got Jude Law playing young Dumbledore, and then they've got
young Dumbledore, not young Richard Harris.
Yeah, and then they've got Johnny Depp in the movie, and then other than that, I know nothing.
I saw the first Fantastic Beasts and I fell asleep, and that's rare. If I fall asleep in a movie, I don't care about it that much.
I did that when I saw the Pirates of the Caribbean movie for the one of them for the third time.
That last one was bad.
Yeah, I think that's the one I watched in the theater 3 times, and the only reason I saw it in the theater 3 times is because they were the $2 show on the discount thing at this particular theater in our mall, and we went to the same one each time. But the problem was we fell asleep halfway through on each showing.
I don't blame you. Watching that last Pirates of the Caribbean is like watching one of your favorite athletes, but when they should have retired a year before, trying to do something. It's just oh, this is past its prime, way past its prime.
I think they're still supposed to do another movie.
Why? What the hell could you squeeze out of this franchise? There's nothing left. Johnny Depp is Jack. They've killed essentially Jack Sparrow. Well, they've killed him.
He's still alive. I mean, they gave him back the Black Pearl. They just killed Barbossa.
No. I mean, I don't mean literally killed him. Figuratively, there's nothing. There's a time where Jack Sparrow. If you watch the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Jack Sparrow was cool, man. He was cool, and I think they lost track of what Jack Sparrow was. I always I always thought that Jack Sparrow was a character that pretended to be dumb but was really, really smart.
Yep.
And if you watch the first movie, that's what he was doing. But if you watch the first movie, then watch the last movie, you realize, oh no, they just made him dumb and lucky. He's not dumb and lucky. He's smart, so he plays dumb. That's what makes Jack Sparrow awesome.
Well, and even
anyway.
even the second movie, he was pretty smart.
Right.
You know, collecting the, you know, and he was kind of smart during part of the third one too, where he's like, I've got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside it?
What was that? There was one moment in the one with Ian McShane, the Blackbeard one, where he's meeting the king or something, and he sets up the room to get out. And they do the same thing in the third one where he puts the he goes not even a drip of a glass of wine or a drink of wine. That's the Jack Sparrow I like, where he sets up the army man, and he puts the cannon over there, and he puts the cupcake on the table in the Stranger Tides one. That's the Jack Sparrow I like. But in the last one, he's just like, oh, I guess I fall on the stairs and things work out for me. No, Jack Sparrow's supposed to be like this cunning guy who's drunk all the time, but he's smarter than everyone. And he plays stupid, so people take him for granted. And then because there's that scene where he's like, this is the dumbest, he must be the worst pirate I've ever seen. And then he gets the ship and goes, he has to be the best pirate I've ever seen. That's Jack Sparrow. But they fucked that up. That's gone now.
Yep. And
that's gone.
Yeah, well, and they kind of redeem him at points throughout the other movies. It's just that it's not as prominent as that first one.
No.
You know, where he purposely plans to get stabbed because he takes one of the coins so that he can't die too.
Right, that's the first movie where he was dope as shit in that movie.
He was just, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. That was like they had lightning in a bottle there, and they just couldn't recapture it.
No.
But I think we're going to close this out. Yeah, so thank you for joining me on this episode.
No problem. My pleasure.
Yes.
Sorry, Gore Verbinski. Sorry for shitting on your franchise.
It's okay. I actually still have to record one more movie week in review episode to close out that spotlight. It's one of those things that I'm just doing it because I want to complete the spotlight more so than it's, you know.
You're a completionist. It's understand.
Yeah, I did the first three, and it took me forever to do them. And then I went back and I did, I don't know, it was like a year or two later after the movie. I think it was, what was it? I don't know. I think I published them all around the same time. It says I did them on the same year, but I know that's bullcrap. Because I did the fourth movie like 2 years after I did the third one. And I'm still, I just got to do the fifth movie yet. Blanchard's like, we finished the movie we can review. And I'm like, not yet, we haven't.
Not yet.
I'm like, it has to be done.
What are you gonna do afterwards? After you finish it, you're just like, what do I do with my life now?
I'll do Joker of the Caribbean. I don't know.
Oh wow.
Why is the rum always gone?
And really bad eggs. Oh.
Ah, yes. Well, ta-ta.
For now.
For now. I'll give you a rainbow connection.
The polite Megatron.
Yeah, he wasn't so
Pardon
polite
me.
in the Beast Unleashed podcast when I closed that out. I scripted it out ahead of time, and I was like,
Ah, tip your waitress and tap that ass.
and yeah, and so like they just lost it. It's almost as famous as that when one of the early ones, like episode 6 or something like that, and I only remember it because Blanchard still uses that against me. Like, it took a long time for him to let that go, and we did this in like 2010, and I did. They were talking about Megatron being a purple dinosaur, and I said, and I had, you know, I love you.
Shut up, bitch. I'm not done.
And so like they just like they were like, what, and then just start losing it like during the whole podcast. So it was funny.
I never made the connection that he is a purple fucking dinosaur. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's a fact.
Till he became a red dragon.
Yeah. Well, yes. Megatron has been a lot of things. I think he was a tank at one point. He's everything.
Yeah, he's whatever he needs to be to get the job done.
He's not the Decepticon we want. He's the Decepticon we deserve.
He truly is a robot in disguise.
An evil protector, a dark Decepticon. Dad, why is Megatron running away? Well, son.
He sacrificed himself for the greater good. So that I may live another day.
Megatron, stop pointing that gun at my family. I'm just going to go over the Dark Knight in my head over and over.
Next time, Gadget.
Oh, boy.
Elmo says that Megatron not a bad guy.
Yeah, we were doing like all that kind of crap in like recent episodes. It was funny. That's how the whole thing with doing the Grinch voice came along. So that'll be out next week.
Oh God, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be funny.
It just remains to be seen how much sound effects I'm gonna put in between it.
It's the audio bed under it that always usually nails it.
Yeah, if I'm lazy, that'll depend on whether there's like background music or not, which I'll probably end up doing. At least background music. There might be sound effects if I can ramble up just the right ones.
Yeah, now that I got your Scott, I need Matt's bones, and I found the music that plays when Spock dies. I think it's called Spock Dies or some shit like that. And it's the
I think I've got the soundtrack.
Yeah, I found it on YouTube and I downloaded it. I was like, now I just got to queue it up. Because I'm like a stickler for it to sound exactly the way it sounded in the movie at the time. Like when we did the Die Hard sketch, in the movie, we did the scene with Ellis and McClane and Rickman or Gruber.
Yeah.
And during the scene, the conversation is like keeps cutting to radio voice to McClane voice, like they're talking through the radio. But because it's audio, you can't see it. It's like Matt will be talking, and all of a sudden it sounds like he's talking on radio because that's exactly how it cut in the movie, and I wanted it to sound exactly the same way. So if you like watch the scene from the what the fuck is his name, Ellis scene, we lined it up perfectly. So every time Matt says the line of dialogue that Ellis says, when it cuts to radio in the movie, it cuts to radio on Matt.
That's funny.
Yeah, those little things I always like try and make it perfect. Because I'm like, wait, why does Matt sound like he's on the radio? I go, if you watch the Ellis scene in Die Hard, that's exactly how it sounds. Where McClane is listening to Ellis talk to him through a radio in that one shot, and it comes back.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get with the. I have to put the muffle noise on my Spock voice because he's doing it through that fucking radiation shield shit. So I gotta find a muffler.
Do not grieve.
Yes, ship out of danger. I have to like do it with my hand over them because there's too much breath. So I have to kind of like go away from the microphone to do it.
Are my pants still on?
Oh, the best part of that is when he stands up and he fixes his shirt. He's just like, oh, sorry, Captain's here. I gotta fix my clothes before I die.
Stand to attention.
Stand to attention here.
Better. Captain on the bridge. Bridge on the captain.
God, I wish I could do a whatchamacallit. What's his name? Oh fuck. I did a little bit of Eric Bana in 2009, but I just wish I could do the hi Christopher, I'm Nero. That shit.
That was like the most like awkward part of that movie.
I'm Christopher Pike, Captain of the Enterprise. Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
He was just like the most normal, like sounding person in the world. Like,
look, Christopher. I'm gonna blow your fucking ship up. I don't give a shit about all this pleasantries.
I'm not acting here. I'm just talking to you.
He looked like I like how Bana played it. He was just very like, I don't got time. Look,
I'm from the future. You're going to die.
Don't tell me it didn't happen. I saw it happen. Don't tell me. I think he was doing a Ford. I think he might have been doing a Harrison Ford in that role. Because Bana's from what, Australia or some shit?
Something like that.
I think if you watch it again, I think he's doing. You find us, man. You find. I think he's doing Ford. I gotta watch it again.
Now I really want to go back and watch that. I have that at my desk. I'm gonna have to watch that now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Altered Geek and the second part of the conversation with DJ Valentine and myself. Next week we have Mike Booth Ninja Powers joining the show as we discuss smartphones and some of the things with Apple and the Google Pixel and classic gaming as far as like the gaming pre-orders in the PlayStation and that whole model. Old movies versus new, old and first new in general. The DC Universe app and some podcast interests. So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.